Hey guys, this is Mel, and I'm back to talk about the 100, episode 703, titled False Gods, which premiered Wednesday, June 3rd, 2020 on the CW. I'm recording roughly an hour after the episode has aired. I didn't plan it that way, it just happened. But huge spoiler alert. Wow, spoiler alert. If you haven't seen the episode already, please go do so first and then come back and see what I have to say about the episode. Otherwise, my other video reminders are up on screen, so take a moment to remind yourselves of those. Quick YouTube shout out to Mr. Legendary AO for the huge reminder of the fact that Echo is actually a Nightblood since 6/11, since she was intended to be Simone's next host and not Abby. Completely forgot about that. So that means anybody with a mind drive is actually a Nightblood. I don't know. Well, I already knew Murphy Namori had to be one, but I don't know why I forgot Echo. But yeah, so thank you, Legendary, for that. Truly appreciate it. But let's get right into this with Tidbits. I'll try to keep it to 20 minutes. Fingers crossed. I know I did double that last time, but let's hope that I'm able to. So, timeline-wise, technically for Sanctum, it is the day after the events of 701, just because at the end of 701, when it was light or when it was dark out and the palace was on fire, Clarke declared that the following day Russell would die for his crimes. So, execution day. And this whole episode is pretty much preparing for that execution time. So I'm assuming it's the next day. Since that, so like it's a full day this episode spans on. However, keep in mind though that we do not know how long it's been for our group on Skyring, which is Echo, Gabriel, and Hope. And that is a question I will bring up in my random questions. So stay tuned for that, because I really do have a huge loads of questions and sub-questions for that one. So there's that. Huge episode reminder is the fact that this episode, False Gods, you can kind of allude it to it being the Primes, but it's a lot about question for faith. Not only in the sense of the Primes, but also with one crew and having a commander or lack thereof now that there's no flame. So there's that. Episode objective split between two. You got first one having to fix this reactor core, and the second one being the execution of Russell, or technically Shaheda. If I switch between the two names, forgive me. On my paper, it's easier to write Russell than to stress over how I spell Shaheda, since I know I keep flipping around the I and the D every time. But yeah, so remember that. But episode breakdowns, or storylines, if you will, I picked up on two separate ones. Again, all of it is dealing with Sanctum itself only. First one being Execution Day, and second one being the Reactor Core. First one, Execution Day, this is pretty much tensions rise between the Prime believers and the Children of Gabriel. One side wanting Russell free, other side wanting him dead. There's also rumors about an attack to save Russell, only for that to lead to him giving a peaceful talk to stop riots, which had an assassination attempt coming about, and that just cancels his execution to begin with, so that they didn't make him a martyr. That's a huge uproar. Craziness right there. But, so, there is that. Now, in regards to the reactor, while this is all happening, we have to deal with the reactor core. And it's pretty much what powers Sanctum, but since it's not just a power generator and it's like actual radiation they have to deal with, they could literally die from the exposure. So, Raven is tasked with the choice of either fixing the reactor core and sacrificing the people who have to get close to it, or all of Sanctum dies from the radiation link. So there's that. Because as you remember, Nightbloods, they have a little bit more of an immunity to the radiation. Not fully immune, but they don't have the same fatal effects as a non-Nightblood would. So there's that. Also, with this one, we fully get the side plot of one crew refusing to help them after finding out that one crew has no more commander. Dia told them the truth that she had to destroy the flame to stop Shaheda from taking control of one crew. So that leads them to recruit 4 prisoners from Allegiance 3 to be the welders to help fix up the reactor core. This also confirms that Allegiance 3 are also Nightbloods. I mean, it was kind of alluded to in the previous episode when Gabriel told Echo that all of the members of the Allegiance mission got mind drives as a way to store what they learned back to base in case any of them died. And we know that anyone who had a mind drive, they had to be a Nightblood in order for it to be compatible. So in this episode, it was confirmed that the same treatment was done to the prisoners. They were given the Nightblood serum before they embarked on their journey, but I don't think they have their mind drive issue, because I think Diyoza would have known about it when it was an issue for them with the primes last time, I think. So it was confirmed that everyone from Allegius does have Nightblood. It is not confirmed if they all had mind drives or not. So there's that. And the last moments of the episode show Sheheta actually orchestrating his assassination attempt to get him out of burning at the stake. All because of that blonde girl. At the point of this recording, I don't have a name for her, but by the time I'm editing this video, her name will be up on screen because it has not appeared anywhere. Or maybe, oh, I think her name was Alyssa. See, I thought Vanessa went, but yeah, I think her name was Alyssa. I'll double check with an image, but it'll be up on screen by the time I edit. So there's that. Yeah, through her. So he told her like what to do, and then like she kind of did his bidding on the outside to make it all work. So there's that. Moving on to characters very quickly, we do see the return of Nicky and Hatch. Nicky, again, played by Alana Huffman, aka Abaddon from Supernatural, and then her husband, I'm assuming husband, because they're definitely together, but Hatch. We found out that they were both bank robbers, and then they ended up killing a bunch of hostages to leave no witnesses behind, and that was kind of their crime, and it's what got them on the Allegius 3 mission as a criminal, so there's that. Between the two of them, Hatch is more of the optimistic view, trying to look on the brighter side of things, and Nicky is just the opposite. So there's that. Hatch does die because while trying to heal while trying to fix the reactor core, and Nicky's not there, so this kind of like sparks some hatred between Raven, who lied to her about the lack of safety to the mission itself. So there's that. Then we get the return of Trey. He's one of the believers, the prime believers, that was close to Jordan, but now that Clarke kind of went behind Jordan's back with the whole burning of the palace thing in the previous episode, or in the 701, Trey kind of views Jordan as a traitor, so is no longer like in with the believers now. And then the blonde girl, aka Alyssa, she being in cahoots with Sheheta and playing Jordan for a pawn, who then relayed unknowingly the rumor that the believers were going to do something and get Clarke and the others on guard to get Russell to make the speech and give the setup martyr moment. And yeah, so that was all her. So there's that. Tidbits though, while not shown on screen, Clarke comments on Maddie's relief that she no longer has to pretend to be the commander of one crew anymore. So that's something there. Also, another tidbit is the fact that, again, as I mentioned before, we only feature Sanctum, so we don't see Bardo, we don't see Skyring. Therefore, we don't know what's going on with Clarke, Echo, or not Clarke, Hope, Echo, and Gabriel, and therefore we don't know what's happening with Octavia, Diyoza, or Bellamy, who I'm assuming all three of them on Bardo. I'm assuming. So there is that. Now, ship status very quickly. There's quite a bit of focus on Emori. I can't talk. Like, holy crap. Emori and Murphy, which I will talk about in a moment. So we do see that. With Clarke and Guy, we get more of a little bit of a confidant dynamic between the two of them as they both give their own little emotional check-ins with each other. We do see a small moment between Miller and Jackson. It seems like they're tense in regards to their own views about the execution. Miller's all for it because Russell, he killed Abby, so it's like he needs to die. But then Jackson's on the fence where it's like Abby was his friend and he wants to see her kill or suffer, but at the same time he's a doctor where he took an oath where he's supposed to do no harm, you know? So he's kind of like struggling with the mindset. Although it seems like he's come around to it by the end of the episode that he would rather see Russell die for all the pain he's caused when he was trying to stitch him up, you know? So there's that. We do see a bit of tension between Indra and Gaia when they argue over their certain perspectives about One Crew. Indra knowing that loyalty is what binds one crew and not faith, which is the stance that Gaia is going for. And this is in regards to whether or not they tell them that the flame is in play or not. Ultimately, Gaia won, saying that they should tell them the truth and that the flame is gone. But then Indra wins by saying that it will break one crew and they no longer follow them, or they have lost a lot of their original followers because of this news. So there's that. And then I'm predicting, we did see a bit of it here between Raven and Nicky. Nicky beat the crap out of Raven after finding out the hatch was pretty much on a suicide mission. And so I believe there's going to be growing tension between the two of them, especially like Nicky being more antagonistic to Raven because of that lie. Definitely didn't start off on the right foot in this at the start of the episode. So I sense a very, very tense road ahead for the two of these ladies. So there's that. But let's move on to the most shocking moment of the episode. I think I have to say it first was either the fact that Gaia actually told Wan Crew the truth about the flame. That was kind of one there. But the reason why it's not the sole shocking moment for me is because I have to give it up to the fact that it was a shock that it was Alyssa, or the blonde girl, that was the one who was doing Russell or Shaheda's bidding and helping him to orchestrate that attempted assassination. I mean, the fact that there was an assassination attempt, that didn't surprise me. I kind of figured, if anything, if he still had people coming in to see him, he had to be telling them to do a certain plan. So when Jordan found out about the rumor about like the believers are going to be doing something to save them, I already had a suspicion that if anything, Shaheda was behind it. If he was still allowed visitors, he had to be behind it some way, shape, or form. So then when the assassination attempt happened, I wasn't surprised by it. I mean, it would make sense that he could have hired the shooter or roped the shooter in to take him out, and then hopefully he survived. Even if he died, it would have made him a martyr. So it's like either way, he would have won against Clarke and the others. But the surprise would have to be the fact that it was Alyssa who was doing his bidding, because I thought it was Trey who would have done it. Maybe that was too obvious, and he was meant to be the red herring in all this as the spokesperson for the believers. But yeah, the fact that it was Alyssa and not Trey was probably the shocking moment. I'm not shocked that Shaheda was the one orchestrating the fact that he got out of his own execution. You know what I mean? So there is that. Oh, that's another peep I should put down too. All right, so let's move on to parallels. It's not as obvious, but in this episode, but as I stated before, it is the final season. I'm expecting a lot of callbacks or parallels from the previous seasons. So there's that. One of them is the fact that Raven needed to make the decision this time on who got to live and who got to die. A lot of the times in the past, Raven has reprimanded Clarke and anyone else who had to be put in that situation with the claim that she would have always done better. She would have always chosen better than what was actually done. And to find her in the situation now and not choosing to do anything differently, that is something that was a parallel in a sense, or at least a recurring theme, I would say. And then another one is through Clarke's own conversation with Gaia when she brings up the concern about like how they keep repeating history, how like they always come to this situation and they always try to do better, but instead it results in them losing people and always fighting for survival instead of just actually living and thriving. They're just fighting to hold on type of thing. So kind of like a callback to the issue. It's more of, I'm putting it in parallels just because it's something that Clarke has a revelation on, or it's something that you know that she's thought about a lot of, and it worries her that they're not making any progress in the depths of themselves, if that makes sense. So that's something there. For moving on to top 3 favorite moments, first one has to be why do I say Emorphe? Is it because that's their ship name? I don't even know if that's their ship name, but it's Murphy and Amori is who I wanted to talk about. I never called them that before. I don't know why I'm calling them that 3 times today already. But anyways, first one is that I love that we got to see the first time in this episode them being a couple. And then I also love their dynamic between each other, obviously. But then also them being heroes. Them pretty much standing up and being the ones to go into the reactor core and do their part in trying to lower it down. So for Imori, she wanted to do her part and she did it great. Little touch and go there. But then also with Murphy, what I loved is that he wanted to stay by Imori and check on her and make sure like she will actually pass, because they're just newly turned Nightblood. So they haven't had to deal with radiation or surviving radiation like Clarke has had to do. So they're not even sure if they're covered by Nightblood. It's all theoretical for them, right? So I love that he wanted to stay by her, but then also at the same time, I love that Raven was right. As a cockroach, he's going to do whatever it took to make sure he survives the situation. And she used that to her advantage by locking Murphy in the where the pipes had to be repaired. She locked him in there knowing that he's going to do what it needs to be done to save them all, because it would save him. So I really like that they both stepped up, because this was also both two characters who started off at the very beginning not giving a shit about the bigger picture and only looking out for number one, which is themselves. So I really love the growth. I love that we got to see them together and taking on their roles, and the fact that they were dressed up as the Primes was just like awesome. So there's that. The second favorite I had was the fact that Raven had to be put into this hard position where she had to make these hard decisions. Yes, it's hard for character. Well, I can't speak. Yes, it's hard for Raven as the character. I was about to say it again. But what I love is the fact that she now knows from firsthand experience what Clarke and every other character that has to have gone through it already, what they had to deal with. Clarke has had to do it multiple times already. Murphy has done it, I think, a few times as well. Bellamy has done it a few times. Octavia has had to make the hard choices as well. And Indra as well, too, as a former Triku leader, right? So I really like that Raven now can't use the card, well, like, I could have done better, because now she knows for a fact there was no right answer in that situation. You either sacrifice the few to save the many, or you risk sacrificing them all in hopes that you could save everybody. So I just really like that, even though Raven is emotionally torn from what has happened, and she's reeling from it, also after being beat up on by Nicky. I do appreciate that this will at least give her some acknowledgement or some enlightenment as to what it actually means to be put in that situation. So I do appreciate that. Plus, as Murphy says, welcome to the gray area. She can't be put on, she can't think of herself as being on a high horse anymore, you know what I mean? So that is something there. And another favorite I did like was the fact that we have Clarke and Gaia and their talks. They really sound like they're each other's confidants now, or they're their go-to people, their advisors, if you will. Or I guess because Clarke is kind of the pseudo-leader, Gaia is now acting as the emotional confidant or emotional advisor, while Indra's the strategic advisor type of thing. So I do like that we got, both times we opened up the episode with their characters together and talking about their current losses with Abby and with the Flame, and what that means in regards to their own beliefs and where they go forward from here. But then they bring it back to the very end, talking about the change and what it means to change and how they can continue moving forward. So I really like that they're going more of the internal focus, I guess you could say. So that is something there. But let's move on to top 3 peeve moments. First one is the fact that Shaheda is still alive. I understand why he's alive on as a screenwriter, and the fact that he's going to bring conflict and drama. But when it comes to as a fan and wanting my characters to survive and just live a peaceful life, Shaheda just stands in the way of that. So that's why it's a peeve, because I want him gone. Or at least I want them to know that he's Shaheda and not Russell. That's the thing. But yeah, there's that. Also, another peeve is the fact that if he's your prisoner, why would you have his believers who want to break him out? Why would you allow them to visit? Why would you allow him to have visitors from his group of followers? That makes no sense. And, right? So it's or why would you allow like unsupervised visits, because I'm pretty sure when it's visitors time at like any precinct in modern day America, you would still have guards there to supervise the visit. Am I wrong? It's just like, it just made it so easy for him to manipulate, or not manipulate, to coerce, or that's the same word, to make him be able to plan with a list in order to stir up this mock assassination to push to cancel his like execution. It's just like they gave him too many opportunities. Like, if I don't know, that was a huge peeve there once I thought about it after the whole revelation that he actually did orchestrate his own execution being delayed. But that was a peeve there. But I hit the 22-minute mark, so I'm sorry. We're going to go before 30. But let's move on to random questions. This big one I wanted to talk about during timelines, but I think it's pressing more now, so let's discuss. First one being our Skyring group, that is Hope, Echo, and Gabriel. They have been gone from Sanctum for at least 12 to 24 hours on Sanctum. How long do you think it has been for them on Skyring, where the time dilation is so much faster for them? I mean, has it been months? Has it been years? Is this why we see Echo with really short hair in the season trailer? How much time has passed for them? Because when they first arrived, Hope said that she was on Sanctum for a day. And on Skyring, that could have been decades or even centuries of time having passed since she was there. So, first off, I hope that our three characters are still alive. Maybe they found a way during our one day on Sanctum. Maybe throughout that time they were able to figure out how to get off of Skyring and get to Bardo, which has a different time dilation there. Who knows? But that'd be pretty interesting. Right? Yeah. Yeah, that'd be pretty interesting there. But also, next question. Because of Raven's lies about the fixing the reactor core being a safe mission, do you think this will spark a very personal vendetta with Nicky? Or do you think Nicky will be like Raven's new antagonist of the season? Because I definitely don't think Nicky's going to take it easy on Raven. She's definitely probably going to be combating against her whenever they can. She already has very high opinions about the Allegius 3's treatment of just being intense and being positioned outside of the burnt palace. So there's that. Oh, and also, just because the palace is burnt, it's still habitable. Like the Murphy and Amori are still living in there. They're able to still meet inside. The medical wing is still working. So it's like you're able to still live in the palace. It's just now it's not as big. You know what I mean? So that's something there. And last question was, wouldn't there be radiation hazmat suits on the transport ship or on the actual big Allegius ship? Or what about those fancy suits that the Lee family or the primes, the four primes from the Lee family, they were wearing when they were trying to escape the Red Sun's effects? Weren't they wearing suits that were protecting them? If so, why couldn't they use those in order to like work on the reactor core? Why were hazmat suits not a possibility when they came from a ship that had more high-tech equipment than what Sanctum had to deal with? Which Raven said was a few centuries old of equipment. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like, I don't know. I feel like Allegius kind of had their own welding gear, maybe welding protection, but it's like, I feel like they could have put more into it to protect them if they knew like the radiation was a factor. But yeah. I don't know if like they can say a time constraint was the reason why they just went right into it full force. But maybe that's the case. I don't know. But that's a question there. But otherwise, let's move on to predictions very quickly. based off the promo for 704, it's looking like we possibly might see Bardo soldiers coming to Sanctum. It looks like we will get Echo with the new haircut, so we will get our answers about Skyring and what happened to there after what happened in the previous episode. And it looks like Gabriel mentions that, I think it's Gabriel that mentions it, but someone mentions that there is a upcoming war, and it intends to be the last war for humanity. I think I got that right. Mind you, I only watched the episode once, or the promo once, by the time I'm recording this. So there's that. So at least our people of Sanctum will finally know what happened to our characters that went through the anomaly. Yes, thank you. So there's that. But based off the synopsis, though, for the episode, it reads, mysterious outsiders arrive with news of Clarke's missing people. I really hope this episode just takes place the next day after the events of this episode, because then they got to be wondering that their people have been missing for 2 days. Where the hell are they, right? You know what I mean? But, so there's that. And you got to hand it to the 100. They give the smallest synopses ever for a huge ensemble cast that they do. They only listed one character. And then the rest of the synopsis is like, also starring, and then they list all of them. So it's like, they're all there. But yeah, so that is something there. But that's pretty much all I got to say, guys. What did you guys think of this episode? What did you guys like about it? What do you think will happen next? Let me know in the comments down below. Love to hear your thoughts, theories, and opinions about all that fun stuff. Also, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and check out my other videos if you haven't done so already. If you want, check out my Tumblr page. Link for that is down below. I reblog, promos, web clips, quotes, gifs, synopses, news, all that good stuff. All from one place. Found in one place, so check that out as well. Same for WordPress. Link for that is down below. Anything I post online is connected to WordPress. A little more organized, a little more detailed, still a work in progress as well. Keep in mind, I am currently still in school that with a very high demand in writing content being produced on a week's notice. So I'm not able to update any of my websites as frequently as I would like. But it's all set up already to go up to just before the 100 aired again. But yeah, I didn't get a reading week this term because COVID had pushed my semester back, and in order to line up with the original dates, they had to like shift dates around. So this semester, I didn't get a reading week. So everything really feels more like my homework is like very tightly packed, where it seems like I'm getting assignments week after week after week, week after week after week, instead of every 2 weeks, alternating, if that makes sense. But anyways, that's my mindset right now. So that is pretty much it, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for your patience. Thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate it. I really hope that you guys continue this journey with me for the final season. Anything goes, really. Anytime we go into a final season of a show, anything can truly go, because they do not have to worry about what needs to be maintained for the next season. So I really want to see how this journey happens, and it'll be fun to have you all share it with me as well. Also, guys, because of the current times that we are in right now, especially with this past week, all I want to say is just please be safe, please be mindful, and please just stay physically distant so that you're safe on all counts in regards to whether it's the pandemic or whether it's to the protesting. Just be as peaceful and as kind as you can be, given the circumstances. But that is all I'm going to say about it. But this is Mel, wishing you all a great day, a great week wherever you are. Please stay safe. Please stay healthy. And hope to see you guys next week. Take care.